I'd like to call upon Rabbi Chaim Schochet to announce the winner of the Eisenberg Chinuch Award.
I'm humbled to be standing in front of a room full of mechanchim. And in doing so, it brings to mind the famous episode retold by Rabbi Meir Avtzon Shalom, which some of you may recall, when he described the Frierdiker Rebbe's last Tishrei in Russia in 1927, Tafresh Peiches. Tishrei Tafresh Peiches. A little bit before, right before he left to Riga, when he left Russia forever. The Frierdiker Rebbe was going to say a maimer, and he told Reb Chacha to call in the Bachrim, the Idis, the Mitziyonim, the number one, the A's, the hundreds. But Reb Chacha, being who he was, a very clever chassid, he saw an opportunity, and he told all the Bachrim, there were 20-something Bachrim at that place, he told them, come to the door is open, the Frierdiker Rebbe is going to say a maimer. They all came into the room, and the Frierdiker Rebbe said what he needed to say. But when he was done, and they left, he looked at Reb Chacha with a question. I didn't tell you to call all the Bachrim in. You were supposed to bring in just the Mitziyonim, just those that really excelled in their studies, in their learning, the top of the top. Why did everybody come in? And Reb Chacha answered, which I'm sure many of you have heard this, he said, Kulam Ahovim. They're all beloved. All the Bachrim to me are perfect. All the Talmidim in the yeshiva are excellent. To me, everybody here is a Mitzuyin. Kulam Ahovim. He said it with one word, Kulam Ahovim. So the Frierdiker Rebbe retorted, Kulam Berurim? That you may love them all, but does that mean that they are all are really of stature? And this went on back and forth with the words that we say every Shabbos, Kulam Ahuvim, Kulam Brurim, Kulam Kedoshim. The Frierdiker Rebbe asking each one, and Reb Chacha responding with the next word, until finally Reb Chacha had the last word. He answered the Frierdiker Rebbe, V'chulam oisim be'ema v'yira, ritzayin kainam. Can I tell you that every Bacher is holy? Can I tell you that everybody is perfect? Can I tell you that everybody learns exactly the same and davens exactly the same? But kulam oisim be'ema v'yira, ritzayin kainam. Every Bacher, and I'm adding, every Bacher in Taim Chet Mimim is serious, is earnest. Everybody wants what's best. Some of us have strengths, some of us have weaknesses, some of us have shortcomings, we all have our natural affinities, but everybody wants what's best. And the Frierdiker Rebbe accepted it. I'm standing here before all of you, and I say this from the bottom of my heart. You, every single one of you in this room, mechanchim, holy mechanchim, you are my heroes. V'chulam oisim be'ema v'yira ritzayin kainam. I have no words to tell you, standing in front of you here. To stand and to judge which mechanech yes, which mechanech no. I mean, that's MEF. I'm not involved in this. They just asked me to introduce. They didn't ask me my opinion. I didn't write any op-eds about it, not even anonymously. Everybody who's in chinuch, nobody's in chinuch to become a gvir. Nobody's in chinuch because they want a good life. Nobody's in chinuch because they think that way they'll buy a nice car. Every single person who's in chinuch is a Baal Mesiras Nefesh, is somebody who's given their life to the greatest task, the greatest shlichus. Because if there's no chinuch, there's no future. And if there is mechanchim that get up every single day, no matter how difficult their night was, regardless of whether their babies were up all night or their kids were sick with the flu, but every day they come to yeshiva, and every day they do their work, then we have a chance of a future. So I say, kulam baisim be'em of yira etzayin kainam. But having said that, I want to tell you, I'm not going to give you a speech. You've had speeches all day, and I understand you're not getting dessert. There's a few more speeches that need to get done. But I just want to tell you, there were two people in a school that got into a fight. our yeshivas, on the school buses, there's the driver, and usually there's a bus monitor as well, who sits in the back who helps out. There was a bus driver and a bus monitor that got into a bitter fight. Understandably. This is not a joke, it's a true story. The bus driver kept on insisting that my job is to drive the bus. And it's your job, he told the monitor, the little kids in the kindergarten, in the nursery, in the pre-1A, it's your job to get off the bus and help them get up the stairs and sit them down and buckle them in. The bus monitor kept on insisting. He said, no, it's not. My job is when the kids are on the bus, they should all be sitting nicely. They shouldn't be fighting. They shouldn't be killing each other. It's not my job. Nobody ever made it my job. I'm not getting paid to get off the bus and on the bus and in and out. That's your job. You're the driver. You're the captain. You make sure everybody gets on. My job is, once they're on, to make sure they're safe. And this went on back and forth and back and forth. Each one said, I wasn't hired for this. In my contract, it doesn't say that. I'm here to drive. Another one said, I'm here to buckle them in. They finally went to a Rav to resolve this dispute. And this was in Eretz Yisrael. They went to the great Goen, Reb Ben Zion Abba Shaul, great Svardische Goen and Paisik. He was the Rosh Hashiva of Yeshivas Peiros Yosef in Yerushalayim. He passed away about 18 years ago, Tammuz. He heard what they both had to say. And he looked at them with great disappointment. He said, you have it so wrong. You have it so terribly wrong. You're fighting whose job it is to pick up the kid onto the bus. You should be fighting. The bus driver should be telling the monitor, it's not your job. I was hired to bring the kid onto the bus. And the monitor should be telling the bus driver, your job is to drive. It's my job to bring the kid onto the bus. And listen closely. He said, because you should know that when you go outside and you pick up the child, you are doing hagbah. When the bus driver takes his medal to open the doors, he said, every time you do that, you're doing psicha. You're talking about Sifrei Torah. You're fighting whose job it is to take the Sefer Torah. You should be saying, I want to do psicha. I want to do hagbah. That's what you should be arguing about. Somebody came over to tell me this story. This happened with a Svardische Rav. He was a Svardische younger man. He came to share it with me. And when he told it to me, I was so deeply moved. It really struck a chord. Psicha, hagbah. It was an incredible story. One of the most moving anecdotes I've ever heard. But then, I discovered a mechanech that every single day comes to yeshiva and he greets every student like he's greeting a Sefer Torah. When he looks at them, he's looking into a Sefer Torah. When he greets them, he's greeting a Sefer Torah. Everybody is special in Chinuch. But to find a person, Rabbi Zion Abba Shaul, Schochet Levracha, told this to two people who were fighting. But to see a mechanech that for year after year, Talmud after Talmud, walks into yeshiva every day and sees a room full of Sifrei Torah, in my humble opinion, that is something that is unprecedented. That is something that should be rewarded, acknowledged, that we should all learn from. And therefore, it's an honor, it's a schus to announce that the mechanech of this year, the award given this year, is to the mechanech, the renowned mechanech of Yeshiva Salei Torah, Reb Zalman Shapiro.